Hello, hello.
Mhm.
Welcome. I am Marlon Weems. I am the publisher of the Journeyman newsletter, and welcome to a show with no name. And Arturo,
I am Arturo Dominguez, the author of Decolonized Journalism and editor in chief at the Antagonist Mag, and we are here to make some noise today. Talk about nothing.
oh my gosh, this is not going to be like on Seinfeld. It was a show about nothing. That's not what this is. This is this is a whole lot, a whole lot of nothing, actually.
Yeah.
My gosh, man. We normally come into this and I always kind of joke around and say, "Oh, not much going on today." Well, man, I cannot say that today.
No, not today.
Cannot because it is really, really wow,
Yeah.
a lot. So as folks are filing into the chat room, we'll wait a little bit. Then we will try to do um, our amazing intro, and then we will we'll just mix it up here for the next hour.
Yep.
Whew.
Yeah.
I am
I lost you, man.
I'm back.
there
I'm
you go.
back. The
Okay.
gremlins, man, they're messing with me.
It's the feds.
It's you know what? That's how I know this show is going places, because they are trying to stop us, man.
Yep. There you go.
They're trying to stop us, but they can't.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So how many have we got in the chat? I haven't pulled it up yet.
There's about 30.
Hey, that's good enough for me. Why don't we let's
Do
get
it.
this show on the road, man. Time for a show with no name. All right, man. That just gets me revved up, dude. I
Right?
gotta
Get
tell
me
you,
going
man.
every time. Every
Over
time.
here, I hope, man. I, I hope nobody can see me chair dancing over here, man. I was
I
like,
know, me too, in the background.
I mean, we have to find joy wherever we can, don't we?
Know it, yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I swear, I tell you, one, listen, man. One of my brothers is, I get text messages pop up on my laptop here, and I have a brother down in Arkansas. I did like a show with him because he has this company. It's a 501c3, a not for profit or a non-profit, I guess. And he works with a lot of blues musicians, but he just texted me something to the effect of, "We got to get these fools out of DC." Because and I just saw the headline, and it wasn't even something I was going to talk about, but I guess Hegseth is, trying to fire another general or something.
Yeah. Of
I
course.
don't know what
Yeah,
is
I
wrong
mean,
with these people.
I don't know. It's interesting that it came on the heels of Pam Bondi getting fired. That was I honestly expected maybe Kash Patel to go first, but I hear he's next.
There she is, man. She's
Yeah.
out, and I'm going to tell you, I heard. I first heard about that this was sort of percolating.
Yeah.
First thing this morning. And the way, I always listen to Bloomberg News because it's sort of like, it's kind of like it's not as bad as Substack, because I always call Substack the cleanest dirty shirt, but it's not that bad because everybody in finance watches Bloomberg and uses their systems and stuff. So it can't be like unreliable because too many
Right.
folks depend on it. But what they were saying, and it was the scuttlebutt at the time, they were saying that she was gonna, it was gonna be like Kristi Noem, where she got moved into like some other
Right.
area, and they were saying that Trump That's probably his new strategy because he doesn't want to have these people out there. You remember when he was president before,
Right.
somebody get fired, and next thing you know, they're on MSNBC talking bad about him. So that was what they said was going to be the plan. They didn't really know where she was going to go, but as it turned out, I think he must have fired her on Fox because he got on there, and that's where it sort of came to light because he said something like she's going to the private sector.
Yeah, that she was transitioning to the private
Yeah.
sector. Yeah, yeah.
And
That was
I'm like,
interesting. It was like it was almost, even during the first administration, I can't remember who it was, got fired while doing a presser. Wasn't it James Comey
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
he was out. I think he was out in California talking to some like FBI agents,
Yeah,
like
right.
giving a pep talk or something.
Right.
And somebody said, man, sir, it ain't your job no more. So,
Right. And that's what happened to Kristi Noem, basically, except for, she wasn't fired, she was moved. And then, Pam Bondi, she finds out through the TV and social media, more than likely.
The worst one, though, man, the worst one, the guy that was he was the ex-CEO of Exxon. And I think he was Trump's first Treasury Secretary. And man, it's been years. The name escapes me.
Me too.
Somebody in the chat will probably know, but what was so, I think the word is inauspicious. This dude was like on the toilet, I guess on his phone, and gets a notification, and it's like from some news service saying he had been fired. So yeah.
I imagine most, you work
nothing
around
but
Trump,
class, man. Nothing but
right?
class.
You work around Trump, and that's what you're going to get, right? He's a reality TV type of person. So, yeah, I mean, he's like the man version of Real Housewives or something. I mean, he's just like, he is out there, bro. Like,
he is. What is so crazy about it is he made his reputation on the whole, you're fired. And
right.
He never actually fronts somebody and fires them and kicks them out. It's always some kind of, subterfuge. He's got to get on TV and say it and hope they heard it. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's pretty childish. It's like like the whole spreading rumors in elementary school type situation. It's, dude, I don't know. Yeah, when it comes to Trump, it's just crazy, and like I wrote about this the other day about how like Cuban American hardliners are having a hard time rationalizing like his moves. And like letting that Russian tanker go into Cuba, and it's
that was embarrassing, wasn't it?
Right, and like they're all trying to.
Why don't you give a little background on it, because it was like some back and forth or something, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, well, the tanker was coming, and Cuba hasn't been able to get oil for 3 months. For those who don't know, and if you don't know, you need to come out from under the rock. But yeah, no. So the Russian tanker, I don't know, was on its way for, it seemed like 3 weeks. Everybody knew it was coming. And, I'm guessing Rubio was probably pushing to try to stop it. The thing about this tanker is this one is state owned, right? It's not just flying a Russian flag owned by a private company. This one's owned by Russia. So, there's a lot of geopolitical implications there.
Yeah, we're already fighting everybody else. So, let's not add Russia into the mix, huh?
So, Russia, the way I see it is Russia called Trump's bluff, and, Trump let it go through. For the hardliners, like anybody who's working with the Trump administration right now, whether you're Iranian, Cuban American, or just some billionaire business guy, you got to be struggling to rationalize some of the things that he's doing. Like he pretends to be, the Iranian's friend and the Cuban's friend and all this stuff. And then he just stabs them in the back right in front of God and everybody. And that's who he is. That's who he is, right?
It is so on brand though, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I don't understand how anybody can rationalize anything that Trump is doing, on top of the fact that he's a damn pedophile. Like, Jesus Christ, guys.
Man,
I'm not going to stop saying that. So
don't. Why would you? I mean,
right.
He's going for like the record. I mean, we got like felon, pedophile, tried to overthrow the government. All these
Yeah, right.
women running around saying that he tried to rape them too. And I mean, what?
Dude, hands
I
down.
mean, only thing left is this dude's gonna show up at a bank with a gun one day, just
Yeah.
just
I mean,
rob a bank. I mean, what else can you
right,
do?
hands down worst president ever. Like hands down worst president ever. Just every scandal, everything, even the war. Like I don't know how
Man,
you could support this guy.
even before all of this,
Right.
I always was like, well, first of all, when I moved to New York, it didn't take me very long at all to understand that people didn't have a whole lot of respect for him as a real estate guy. And you hear all the stuff when you're in the business I was in, and his kind of mobbed up situation, and just everything. I mean, he's a dishonest guy. Everybody knew it. So the idea that he could fool all these people, man, it just messes with me still 11 years later.
Yeah. I mean, this is who he's always been, right? Like I grew up along the Hudson River on the Jersey side. And like, Trump was on the news all the time. And again,
And it was always something.
It was always a scandal, right?
Somebody he didn't pay, right?
Yeah, somebody he didn't pay, people he wouldn't rent to. There was always something. And, he always did these PR things to try to prove that, look, I'm not racist. I'm hanging out with some black dudes.
Mike Tyson. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Civil rights icon, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, man.
So, yeah.
I will tell you something that I never could figure out when he ran for president the first time. All the stuff that we know that was just, every day it was something, seemed like something coming out. But there was one thing that never came out that anybody in finance, that knew about it. So, and this is something that's people are sort of hearing this with regard to the Epstein files, where it's FinCEN is what they call it, but essentially it is the area of finance. Every investment firm has the responsibility. It's like anti-money laundering.
Oh, I got you.
Right. The financial crimes sort of unit,
Right.
This guy's casino in Atlantic City, before he even ran, was hit with the largest single money laundering fine of any casino. At the time, it was the biggest fine ever. I think it was $10 million. And I never could figure out why they just glossed over. I mean, this guy was a known criminal coming in,
Yeah. And what was interesting is, and I'm seeing this happen again, but this time it's with progressives, but the more that people bashed Trump, the more popular he became. And
that says something really sad about us, doesn't it?
It does. But like at the moment, when you see how establishment Democrats are going after progressives, particularly
don't get me started.
Piker, right? Like they're going after Hassan Piker. All they're doing is making him more popular. And like I'm seeing it happen again. And it's a lot of their arguments are basic. They're fairly dishonest. And I think that if you were to focus on Trump's actual stuff and quit with like dishonest rhetoric, like one thing that didn't help Hillary was calling people a basket of deplorables, right?
It was funny at the time, though.
It was funny,
but it just gave them something where to grab onto.
Right. If you're running for political office, you don't want to say that about half the voting population, right? Like that's probably not a wise choice.
Right. She was only talking about a third, though, man.
Well, yeah, whatever. But yeah, right.
No,
right.
but it's still bad.
It was, yeah. So
bad.
like,
yeah.
There's a way to do, like, we talk about fighting back, right? About using the same kind of rhetoric that a lot of MAGA uses and stuff like that, and that's fine. If you do it more strategically, right? I guess, because I mean, I don't know. We're not in political office, right? So we're not running the risk.
For me and you to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got Gavin Newsom out there, and yeah, his his social media person is good at what they do, right?
Really, that's who
But
we
that
need to
doesn't
elect.
mean
It's not him. He's
right,
not
it's
writing
not
those
him.
doggone tweets.
It's actually a Latina. So if people don't know
I
that,
was gonna say it was a woman. It just came off
it
like
is.
it's the kind of way a woman can cut you. You know, they know the right thing to say to just bring you
Right.
down. You know,
Right. And especially with all the machismo and the really immature and childish like content that the White House puts out. They make it
Man.
so easy. And if you're a Latina, hell, if you were a black woman, you'd probably be roasting the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, they make it easy. They really do. It's just constant stupidity that comes out of this White House. And you know, the idea that anybody buys it, right? Like I don't, for example, like you and I, right? We don't trust our government, what they say whatsoever. We don't care who's in office.
I mean,
Somehow,
you know,
somehow
you just
all-
gotta what was it, Reagan? Trust but verify.
yeah, right.
You know, or don't
Yeah.
trust but verify or something, because
But
I mean, now I don't care who it is, I am, you know, getting 3 sources.
right,
You know, just to and you know, you just have to. You
right.
really
And
do.
I don't see how people were so distrustful of the government when Obama was in office or when Biden was in office, but somehow they believe everything the government says when Trump's in office. And it's like it
White
doesn't matter
savior,
who,
man. Come on now.
there's a culture of lying in all of these administrations. I mean, conservatives went so far, and I can't believe some of our lawmakers in Texas bought this, that they thought Obama was going to invade Texas and
I
come and take
remember
our
that.
guns. Jade
I
Helm,
remember. Dude, they
Dude,
were
Greg-
scrambling and, you know,
right. Greg Abbott sent the Texas State Army to investigate the National Guard and all. I'm like, dude, you guys are so
Dude, they didn't believe
stupid.
that
Like,
shit.
what the
listen, man, I think it's one of those things where they know it's bullshit,
Oh, of course.
right? But they also know they got a bunch of really uneducated people. That's their audience that they're speaking to,
Right.
and they just have to give them the red meat. And I'm not saying Democrats don't do this or try to do the same thing, but when I hear Hakeem Jeffries say the big ugly bill, that doesn't motivate me at all.
No.
You know,
call-
it actually turns me off. I'm like, dude, okay.
Call
What
it the
are we in
big
the- are we
bloated
in the-
bill. The big bloated bill
We're in
makes
the
more
fifth
sense.
grade. I mean, they
Yeah.
could call it the big beautiful bill. It's fucked up. Whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You know, I've been pulling together just some stuff for a piece that I'm working on, just talking about how this guy has screwed up the EV market. It's
Oh, man.
incredible. Well,
Yeah.
yesterday, Stellantis, which is what,
Dodge,
Jeep and Dodge and Chrysler,
Fiat.
they are in conversation with China
Of course.
to build EVs in Canada. Think
Wow.
about that. If you're sitting over in Detroit and you're, you know, one of the big 3, you got to be scratching your damn head going, what the fuck just happened? I mean, because this time last year, right? We had EV credits, and Biden, you know, it used to be where the credit was like you got it on your taxes at the end of the year. But Biden, if I'm not mistaken, Biden moved it so when you actually bought the car, you could get the tax
Right.
break on the front end, which is
Right.
like $7,500. That's not nothing. Well, big beautiful bill that went away. So you got all these manufacturers, right, who have, you know, they got product lines built around EVs and they were selling them. And I was just looking, they're all just sort of getting out of that business, discontinuing car lines. I saw an article, you know, just kind of as I'm pulling stuff together, what to do when the company you bought your EV from isn't in that business anymore. So what we've done is basically open the door for China to get
Right.
a manufacturing foothold in the Americas.
Right. And that's the thing, right? So there's all this talk about trying to get China out of the Americas, particularly in Latin America. And here you have Canada making deals with China because those deals are favorable. and they're mutually beneficial. Whereas deals with the United States are typically one-sided, right? And the other party is the losing party. And again, Venezuela has Chinese oil rigs, and China's building infrastructure through Latin America and all this stuff. And you're just not going to make China leave when they have
It's too late.
hundreds of billions of dollars invested in Venezuela alone.
Man, it's too late. All
right,
Africa, forget about it.
yeah.
They have been building. I told a story. I don't know, maybe it was here or somewhere else, but when I was still in Little Rock, the short version is I had occasion to get to know some of the dignitaries from Ghana that came here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was when Clinton was president. So, being in Little Rock, you'd look up, man, and you'd see movie stars walking down the street, just anybody, right?
Right.
And so what was fascinating to me, and this is in about 1995 or 6, something like that. These guys were totally in bed with China. We were trying to do stuff. My little company
Right.
was, because Arkansas's got rice and soybeans and stuff like that. So I kind of had the end to be able to do some of that kind of trade, but I never could get anything off the ground because they were so in with China. China had been there back then for like 15 or 20 years at least. And so
Right.
you figure now it's like, it's just way too late. I mean,
Yeah,
I
and-
hear you driving around in Africa and, you got the BYDs and all of their different EVs just
those.
all over the place.
Dude, the BYDs are amazing vehicles.
Dude, they're not going to let us have those cars.
No, I know. And you know what's sad
They're not
is
going to let us have them.
the CEO of Ford has like a dozen of them.
Dude, no, I've looked. I used to post a lot of stuff about Chinese vehicles, and people. It's,
Remember,
it's like the only shit that I get attacked for. All the stuff that I say, and man, 2 things, and this was like a double
Shit is
whammy
hilarious.
because it was like, how dare you talk about those Chinese cars? They just tear up and break down. I'm like, well, man, I don't know, but people keep buying them. That's all I know. But it's almost like by saying something good about Chinese vehicles, it's sort of like a low-key attack on Elon Musk, and they couldn't have that, man.
Right.
Woo.
And I
You
mean,
talk
dude,
about
look,
Trump, man. You talk about Trump.
right.
Don't you criticize Elon Musk, man. You better have a flak jacket on. 'Cause
And dude,
I'm telling
you look at the BYD and compare it to any EV in the US, and dude, you can't even touch it, and especially for the price. And it's just, a Tesla's got nothing on BYDs, man. BYDs are just slick. They are slick.
Yeah, they are. And speaking of Tesla, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they reported earnings. I think it was day before yesterday.
Okay.
Pardon me.
Curious.
And it's like their sales were. I think it was like the expectation was for them to have sold. I think maybe 375,000 cars, and they only sold 350 something.
Okay.
But it's the second, consecutive quarter where they have not hit the numbers. And in the meantime, China has passed them, in terms of production and so on.
Yeah, I mean, globally, China has a huge market share on EVs, huge. And it's going to be hard to catch them at this point because they're so far ahead, like with, swapping out batteries, and they have all this technology to make it, where you can change the battery out of your vehicle in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In the US, our EVs, you got to take the whole car apart. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know. I
So
see.
check it out. You mentioned Ford's CEO, and while you were talking, I searched up, and here it is, dude.
I drive in a Xiaomi SU7, high quality, great digital experience.
So you're driving a Chinese.
I
Look at
do.
that car,
Why?
man.
Because of the competition. And to beat them, you have to know them.
There it is.
He
There it
has
is.
a lot. He has a lot of those.
He has
cars.
several of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and I agree with him. You have to know your competition. You have to know the enemy or whatever.
Yeah. It makes
but
perfect sense.
I mean, it's his,
but I
it's
think
his
he's
daily
driving
driver.
that car a little bit too long, though.
Right. It's his daily driver. He's driving it back and forth to work. And I'm like, how do you go to work at Ford driving a Chinese EV?
Well, if you're the CEO, I guess it's
I guess,
whatever.
right?
But you think about it, and I actually when I was searching it up, some of these cars, in terms of dollars, they're just not for $100,000, dude, or less. You can really buy. Well, you can't, but they make some really nice cars. And what's
Dude.
interesting to me is, like he mentioned, Xiaoming. Um, these are it would be like, remember, I don't know what, 15 years ago we kept hearing about the Apple car, like Apple was going to do something.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
and
that.
and Google was going to do something.
Yeah, right. The
Well,
Google, yeah,
while they were talking about it, China went and did it.
yeah,
And they basically got their their mobile phone companies, and they just dumped some money on them and had them redirect that effort into developing cars. So you basically got cars that have all of the, forget CarPlay. I mean, I've seen Chinese vehicles, when you get in the car, it knows who you are.
oh
So
yeah,
it just like rearranges all the technology shit for your particular, preferences and stuff.
yeah, your settings and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because you see China making all these advancements on renewables in general.
Mhm.
And wasn't it just last week that Trump offered to pay some French firm $1 billion to not build windmills here in the U.S.?
Oh,
But reneging on the contract, and he's just going to cut him a check for $1 billion for nothing. And it's ridiculous to go backwards like that. Like T. Boone Pickens, right? Huge billionaire here in Texas, oil tycoon guy. Family's been in the oil business.
I know T-Bone Pickens, man.
This guy built the largest wind farm for a minute. It was the largest one in the world here in the state of Texas, and nobody said a damn thing about it. Everybody's like, "This is awesome because our grid needs all the help it can get."
For real.
And you're not taking those down. Those are an investment by a billionaire who's making a killing. So you're
honestly, man, some of the stuff these guys do, and it's not even hyperbole. It is like I'm watching a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
It's like I forget which movie it is, where the guy is going to make all the gold in Fort Knox radioactive, so he'll get rich and, won't be any gold. He'll be the only person that has any, or just something, I mean, why are we doing? Okay. Why do we attack Iran? Anybody? Somebody? Why?
I mean,
why?
Everybody calls it a war of choice, and that's exactly what it was. It was a decision made on some vibe. I don't even understand the vibe. It didn't make any sense. And my stepdad keeps pointing out, he's Jamaican guy. He keeps pointing out, he always points out shit that I miss, but he keeps pointing out how Trump keeps mentioning it, that it was Hegseth. It was, oh yeah, it was him. He said,
somebody's going to take the fall, and it ain't going to be Trump. I can tell you that right now.
So look, my stepdad thinks, if it's not Patel, who's next, it's going to be Hegseth. But, Hegseth will probably stick around because we're in the middle of a war, and you don't want to do that in the middle of a war. But the way he's passing the buck, and, the way a lot of these people are admitting to war crimes, bomb them to the Stone Age.
That's right there. That's it. A collapse from the inside out. It's
That's
like,
what it is.
you hear it's coming from inside the house. I mean, it is just, man, I'm telling you, like I said, I got in finance in the early 80s. So you just think about, I've seen every crash or whatever that happened all the way up to the financial crisis. When they, like, people getting arrested for insider trade and all kind of fraud, the S&L crisis, all this stuff. It's nothing compared to what is happening right now. I mean,
so explain this, because you posted something earlier about the housing market and about how people can't move assets, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, no, what's going on is I guess like recently, the search for "can't sell my house" on Google,
Right.
it just blowing up, right? And so what people have to consider is this: markets, the bond market. You always hear them talking about the bond market. The bond market at its core is a view on risk.
Right.
Short-term bonds have lower. That's what the interest rate represents: perceived risk, or they make an assessment on. So short-term treasury bonds, almost no risk. It's almost a 30-day T-bill is as good as money, really.
Right.
Right. So if you buy like a money market mutual fund, right? The kind where you can just, you have money in there and you always are going to get dollar for dollar whatever you put in. It's backed. If you look under the hood, you're going to see it's like commercial paper, which is probably a little risky. But predominantly it's going to be very short-term treasury bonds. It's the most liquid thing in the world. And like your mortgage is probably going to be tied to the 10-year treasury. Like if you were to go and try to get a loan right now, they're going to look at the 10-year treasury and it's going to be some spread over that, right? Well, if you go out here and screw up the entire global supply chain, which is what we've done, everybody that has anything to do with lending money or being on the other side, investing money, is going to start. Interest rates can't help but go up.
Wow.
Because the global risk quotient, I don't even know if that's but that's basically what I'm talking about. The whole global view of risk now is exponentially more than it was 2 months ago. So that the housing market is one of the quickest reflections of, increased risk in the marketplace, because bankers are like, well, shit, we can't be out here making loans. We don't even know what's getting ready to happen. We don't know we just don't know. So there you go. I think I saw that like for the 5th month in a row, maybe mortgage rates have gone up. That came out today.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that today too.
Yeah. And so if you're trying to buy a house, it's tough unless you're just sitting on a whole lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And if you're trying to sell a house, it's tough. So it's really, because who's going to buy it?
Right.
Private, that was what really ran this market up. If you think back to COVID, okay. And actually it goes all the way back to Obama. A lot of folks don't know this, but when we had the financial crisis, just think about how people are just walking away from their houses and just saying, screw it, I can't pay for it. And so there were so many empty homes just in the country. You had whole neighborhoods where people just said, screw it, I'm out. What the Obama administration did was they loosened the restrictions on, like venture capital and private equity investors just buying up tons of real estate, because they were trying to, clean up the market. Right. And it was a good idea when they first did it, but they never turned it off. And so what you end up with is situations like here in North Carolina. We rented a house outside of Raleigh when we first moved here, and we went and it was in this neighborhood, and we just got to looking around, and every house was for rent, and they didn't even have real estate agents. They just had like a QR code, and you just scan, you put your phone on the QR code. It gave you like the code of the box, they put on the lockbox thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go look at the house, and if you want it, you let them know. But one company owned almost every house in the entire neighborhood.
Yeah, one of the things that opening the market up to private equity like that did was create these massive, property management companies, and all they do is they own, there's a guy here in Houston, and you see him pop up all the time, and he's trying to sell people on these investments, and it's like, well, you're investing in real estate, and it's hands off.
Is that the Cardone guy that's on Sirius? He's a Trump guy. I hear a
No,
commercial.
I don't think it's I don't think it's the Cordone guy, but he's a local dude. Real big, muscle guy, wears a polo shirt, but and he has a great pitch. He has a great pitch, but you can see what he's selling you on these private property management companies. You buy in, they manage them. You collect your little check every month, and it's supposedly better than having a bunch of rent houses that you have to manage. And it's just this weird thing where, like, I know from research and reading that this private equity ownership of property is one of the reasons why housing costs are so high. So many houses are held vacant. It's manufactured. And then I see this dude who's offering this opportunity for people to cash out their IRAs or whatever and invest in this because you get a better return, and people are doing it.
Go wrong?
Right. And they're contributing to the system that's creating the housing situation that we're in. I don't call it I try not to call it a crisis because it's manufactured. And I see where they're trying to take us. They're getting into build to rent communities.
We've got communities here.
We have a bunch
brand new houses.
Yeah.
And none of them are for sale.
Right.
All of them.
And the thing is at some point, owning a home is just going to be unreachable, and you're going to be forced to rent from the same people who made owning a home unreachable. So it's like this weird thing where we're getting to like owning a piece of land is almost not even feasible. And they're preparing that their solution to the housing crisis isn't to make getting into a house easier. It's to rent from them. And it's just this, it's a scam. The whole thing is a scam.
One of the things that I have heard that Trump is considering, and honestly, it's one of the few things that I agree with him on is reducing, making it harder for private equity to do just what we're talking about.
Right.
I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. He floats a lot of stuff,
Right. I mean, right now there's a lot of talk of, deregulating a lot of the building industry. There's and this is bipartisan, and I feel like Congress is
deregulating in what way? Do you know?
Yeah. So like lifting some types of building standards, lifting some code, code requirements.
I'm sorry, man.
This is what I'm hearing from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. And while they don't really they're still working on the details of stuff. They're already pushing bills that do this. And it's like they forget why we have building codes and why we have regulations on builders, because they were building houses that were falling on people,
houses,
wiring.
Man, I can remember in New York. No, it was in Florida. Don't you remember about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 years ago, like a whole condo just went down.
Yeah.
Just fell to the ground.
Right.
Yeah. That's what we need to do is make it, easier for that kind of stuff.
And the idea is
the mob will have a field day with that shit.
Right. The idea is that if we deregulate these builders some, that it'll make housing cheaper. And it's like you're giving in to the same corporations who just made housing a crisis. Like they created this situation, and you're not bailing us out, you're bailing them out by doing this, instead of forcing them to reconcile with what they're doing. You see these builders here in Texas struggling, right? Because of migrant labor and all this stuff. And their production on these houses has gone from 6 months to 9 months to now to 12 months on a 6-month project. And it's not sustainable for them. And that, they're losing money, and they're not going broke. They're just not making the profit margins they were making before, because it's taking a little bit longer, and they have to pay, because the labor pool is smaller.
I was just going to say,
your bricklayer is going to charge you more, and you're going to have to wait for him to be done with the other stuff before he gets there. Same with your friend.
I'll tell you what, man, just on a personal level, we've got one of our bathrooms needs some work, right? We rent. So, you call them. I mean, now we're dealing with a local management company, right? And, and they're nice people, right? They live around here and all that stuff. But this has been weeks. And I mean, they reached out and said, hey, we hadn't forgotten about you. We just can't find anybody to do the work. They can't even find somebody to come look at the bathroom and say, okay, here's how much it's going to cost.
Right.
I mean, you think about that. And I can tell you on this island, it's a vacation spot.
Right.
And so there are a lot of, very expensive homes. I don't happen to live in one of them, but there are a lot of, there's a house just down the street from me, man. And I think, back during COVID, I think that, because the housing market just went crazy. I think that house sold for like $2 or $3 million.
Wow.
And there's just some folks that just got it like that, where they got a $3 million house sitting right there with the ocean view. And I'll bet in the time I've lived in this neighborhood, probably not even a month, 30 days worth of people living in that house. They live somewhere
Wow.
else. To me, that's just wasteful. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'm a little jealous. I ain't gonna lie, but if I had a house like that, I just would be living in that damn thing. I really would.
Yeah,
But-
you look back historically and this class divide, every time it gets to this point where you have these wealthy elites building ballrooms and making everything gold and blah, 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 while everybody suffers. Yeah, that's usually where the guillotines come out. But
Yep, that's the let them eat cake signal, man. And
right. Somebody pointed out that we have wood chippers these days. So I'm all for
Okay.
using a wood chipper instead of a guillotine.
We're not endorsing violence, but do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens though, right? It always gets to this extreme point before the people finally snap. And I don't know that the US is there yet. We have a pretty, decent middle class, upper middle class type that aren't ready for any of that. But poverty's growing, and middle
what
class
the
isn't
thing
what it
is,
used to
man?
be. Middle class means is paycheck to paycheck these days.
You know what the thing is now? I saw an article the other day, and basically, to be considered middle class, realistically, you got to be making $100,000 a year.
Yeah, I saw
You
something.
got to be making at least $100,000 a year. And I'm telling you, in New York, I lived in New York for a short period of time, but most of the time that I worked up there, I lived in New Jersey, and I was making a good living. But I'm here to tell you, if you're making 250,000 in New York, that's like making 75 grand in North Carolina.
Right.
Because my rent when I moved, and keep in mind, this was 2012, my rent was $3,000 a month. I had a nice place. It was sort of a townhouse, but
Yeah.
still $3,000 a month. My it was so weird, because when we moved here, you talk about bubbles. It was like I had been in one, because when we moved here, I had like an old Navigator, Nissan, like a SUV,
Mhm.
not brand new. And I think my insurance on that car was something close to almost $300 a month.
Wow.
Because I lived in a county just right there on the, just across the Hudson from Midtown
Mhm.
Manhattan. And it was known as like the carjacking capital of the world, and so it's like, you can drive a
That's where
car
I'm
if you
from.
want to, but it's going to cost you.
That's my neighborhood. That's where I grew up, in that area.
Bergen County. Wait,
Bergen. Yeah.
Bergen County. Yeah.
Bergen County. Yeah. I was in Union County right next door. Like
Oh, dude, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So is Secaucus, is that Union County?
No, I don't remember I don't think Secaucus is Union County,
but
but it's right there.
So Shannon used to teach group fitness, I think, at a place over in Union County. Because you know how it is when you're in that area. It's people don't understand if they haven't lived up there. It's like every quarter of a mile you're in a different little town.
Yeah.
If you're going down along the, what do they call it? The Gold Coast.
Yeah.
From like the George Washington Bridge all the way down, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot to get used to.
It is. Yeah. There's a lot of cities there, Hoboken. That's where I was born, was Hoboken, but you got Jersey City, and
Our kids were born in Hoboken.
what's that?
Hallie and Ben both were born in Hoboken.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
dude, you ain't getting a parking space. So I'll tell
No, you're not. You're not.
you,
Yeah.
I've never seen, you just see this stuff and it's only in that part of the country where it works, where you have cars parked on the side of the street, but they're like 2 cars deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Double
you just
parking.
pull right up to the next guy and get out, go, and nobody gets mad. They just know that's the way it is.
Yeah. It's double parking. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like that. I mean, but Hoboken is like 1 square mile. It's not a big
Right.
town, right? So you're really better off catching the bus or
Yeah,
something.
when I was little, I remember, dude, Hoboken was so run down. It was before the gentrification and all that stuff. But it was like, it was a much tighter community. You knew everybody, you know what I mean? Like, you can walk around. It seemed hood to everybody else, but to kids, man, we just walk around. We felt safe. Everybody knew everybody, and that's just how it was. But
So Hallie and Ben went to a Catholic school in Bayonne.
oh, okay.
Bayonne is kind of like now Bayonne hadn't been gentrified yet, and
Right.
so one of the reasons it was kind of like of many that moving here made a little more, because we didn't want our kids to go to public school in Bayonne. It's like, you might not make it, man.
Right.
It's just too much going on. It was like, no, this is no lie. There was a kid in Hallie's class, and his name was like Benny. Okay. And he's just straight up Italian, and a little kid. Now we're talking about, I don't know, 3rd grade, 2nd, like early on. And Benny would come to school, and he have on like a black turtleneck, and his hair would be slicked back, and dude would have on a little gold chain. He's in the elementary school, man.
Yeah.
We used to laugh. We're like, this kid's got no choice. He is going to grow up and be like, running something in, soprano country or something. Yeah.
I mean, it was
Benny.
like, I don't know, our family growing up, everybody had the little gold bracelet with their little name on it when you were, newborn. And I don't know, it was always about gold, putting gold on babies. It was just this thing.
It was ear
I can't
piercing.
explain it.
As soon as the baby's born, there's
Yeah.
like some person standing there, snapping that ear, man. You see like a newborn baby with a, like a freaking diamond in their ear,
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a different, it's definitely a different culture, but we enjoyed it. And I got 2 older sons, and they would come up in the summer, and there was 2 things. The first time they came up, we actually, it was around New Year's, it was Christmas. And, they never been to New York. So we actually went to Times Square. So, we could say we had done it. And we told them, look, everybody speaking Spanish is not Mexican. You get on the subway, don't be staring at people, don't be looking at how people are dressed. And my oldest son saw like a Hasidic Jew, they got these hats on and the long coats, and he's like, Daddy, what kind of cowboy is that? I'm like, son, that's not a cowboy. But if you don't know, you don't know, right?
Right. I remember one of the things, man, that really stood out to me as a kid was, the beat cops. That it was always the same cop on our block, Frank. I still remember his name. And it was always the same dude, and like he knew everybody on the block. And the benefit to something like that is, when something goes down on the block,
he knows your folks, he knows your people.
Right. He knows the situation. If it's a kid with a disability, or if it's an old man who has Alzheimer's or something like that, he knows the situation, right? So it's not a bunch of cops who don't live in your neighborhood come flooding in there with machine guns because some kid's acting a fool or something. And there was, you look at cops nowadays, and none of them live in the neighborhoods they police, and it's a whole different environment. And I just remember there's benefits to having that beat cop that you see,
that neighborhood policeman,
right? Like he just you see him like 2-3 times a day. He has his 10 whatever 12 block area he has to walk, and he gets to eat lunch for free, and people give him drinks, and he gets to hang out with people, and I don't know. I think it's a different, to be more community oriented is probably a good
Well,
idea when it
I'll
comes to
tell you,
policing.
man, the same thing in schools. When
Yeah,
I mean, granted, I grew up going to segregated schools. However, um, the principal knew my mom and dad. They didn't just know my mom and dad, they knew my grandma, they knew everybody,
right.
my teachers. So if you got in there and started acting a fool, it was like, do I need to call
Yeah,
your mom? But they would like be like first name. Do I need to call her? Because she wouldn't want you in here acting like this, you know?
right.
But that day, I mean, my kids did not even, and I mean, it's a sad statistic. I think my son, my youngest, had a black teacher for one class his entire, I mean, all the way through to
Wow.
high school, and it was like a coach that was dual teaching
Right,
something.
right.
My daughter, I don't think she ever had
Really?
black or Latino teacher. No, no. Even she, we laugh about it. She had a teacher in like the second grade that was Italian. She was almost as dark as me, but that doesn't
Right.
count.
Yeah.
That was as close as she got.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of, honestly, like all through elementary school, I think maybe two white teachers, and being a product
Wow.
of Union City,
Hmm.
it's very diverse. And then moved to Texas. Most of my teachers were white. I had a couple that were black, and in Florida, all my teachers were black. When I lived in Miami, I thought that was probably one of my favorite high school experiences. Was ninth grade in the Miami area, because all my teachers were black and they were cool as shit. And
Mhm.
like, my favorite was like literature and stuff. I had a black teacher, woman, and she was always like, if you needed help or want explaining things or stuff like that, she'd get into philosophical discussions with you and stuff. And like, I love that. Like, you learn so much from elders that are willing to
Man,
have
let me tell
had
you how
cool
it's changed.
conversations.
My kid would, Hallie would come home and she's like, "We watched such and such movie today." I'm like, "What do you mean you watched it?" "Oh, in class." Like the
Yeah,
teacher just didn't want to teach, and they just, throw a movie in the VCR or something, and they just sit up and watch a movie.
yeah, they
I'm
do
like,
that a
man,
lot
what
in
kind of
Texas.
school is that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they do
guess it's
that.
accepted now.
Yeah, I
So,
remember.
no,
No,
go
being
ahead, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, being in high school here, I remember a lot of our historical lessons were some National Geographic documentaries.
Well, you can learn from National Geographic, I
Right, but
guess.
I
I
mean, our
mean,
history teacher was a football coach, so
oh,
he was one of those
he look at
dual.
the
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
way out.
yeah,
He's like, watch this,
yeah. It's
or
the
like one
easiest
of those,
class.
remember those like on Disney, they have those animal documentaries and stuff on the, like, when Disney used to come on TV, like on Sunday nights, it'd be like Wild Kingdom kind of stuff. So look, man, I guess in the news department, was it yesterday, the Supreme Court, when Trump rolled in there and tried to
No,
intimidate the Supreme Court?
yeah, yeah. The Supreme Court probably never smelled that way, but
Listen, man, they here's the thing that I think is lost on him, because he really believes that he gave these people you know, gave them each, the folks that he put in, and they owe him.
yeah,
From their
yeah,
perspective, it's like, dude, you should have got your money before you before you
yeah.
put me in here, because I don't have to run for anything. And so I listened to I actually didn't hear it live, but I listened to some of the replays. And even, I mean, everybody, Brett Kavanaugh was cracking on him. John Roberts was
Roberts.
doing it. But
Yep.
I want you to listen to this one. Y'all should hear this. This is Ketanji Brown Jackson. And you know, this poor woman, well, I shouldn't say it like that. It's just that I remember the bullshit she had to go through
Yeah.
to get confirmed. Um, being just referred to as a DEI nomination and all of that. And she is so smart, man.
I
So
know.
this is her, and the lawyer for Trump is this guy John Sauer. I think he
Yeah.
I think he used to be a Democrat. Who knows now? I don't know what motivates guys to like go to the dark side, but so check
Yeah.
this out. No, this is John Sauer.
How
talking
does
with-
this work? Are you suggesting that when a baby is born, people have to have documents, present documents? Is this happening in the delivery room? How are we determining when or whether a newborn child is a citizen of the United States under your rule?
And I think that's directly addressed in the SSA guidance that's cited in our brief. What SSA says is there's currently a system where, for example, Social Security numbers are generated based on the birth certificate. They say this can still be, for the vast majority of instances, completely transparent. You will still get it.
No, not transparent. I'm just talking about the particulars, because now you say your rule turns on whether the person intended to stay in the United States. And I think Justice Barrett brought this up. So are we bringing pregnant women in for depositions? What are we doing to figure this out?
No, as I pointed out earlier, the executive order turns on lawfulness of status. So if you give birth to a baby in the hospital right now, it gets the birth certificate in the system. There's a computer system.
So there's apparently no opportunity then for the person to prove or to say that they actually intended to stay in the United States.
Absolutely not. The opposite is true. Their opportunity to dispute if they think they were wrongly denied, which would only happen in a tiny minority of cases,
After the
is
fact.
directly addressed in that guidance.
After the fact,
Yes.
after their
Yes.
baby has been denied citizenship.
Dude, I tell you, it is just, it's really something to watch.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you live in a bubble of idiocy, right? Where like you have a bunch of
I'm going to steal that, a bubble of idiocy.
right, like you have a bunch of people around you going, yeah, we can do this, we can do that, right? And they never once look at case law.
Nobody
And-
asked a question, and you could tell he was not ready.
No, they
Aside
asked
from
him about-
sounding like something from the grave, I mean, I don't know what that.
yeah, like they asked him about Native Americans
Uh,
and how's this gonna, and he couldn't. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and research that. I'm like, are
It's
you
like
kidding me? Like
They
we've
were here
discussed
before
this.
you.
Right?
They were
Right,
here
like-
already.
This has been ironed out for 150 years. It's settled law. It's the Constitution says what it says, and that's it.
Well,
And this dude just wasn't ready. It was
settled law
embarrassing.
doesn't mean anything to these people. See,
Yeah,
doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
So
well,
what this tells me is we're in for some shit when it comes time for this guy to go home. Somebody better be frisking these people coming out of the doggone White House, because it's going to be, he's going to do the same thing he did before. He's just going to steal stuff.
I think they lose this battle like he did last time. I mean, this is a
Well, he
justice.
will, but nobody's going to go to jail.
No. This is a Justice Department opinion that gives him an opportunity to say, "Well, my Justice Department said,"
Mm-hmm.
and then he can use that as his out. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to like that and settled case law in the Supreme Court,
They're
there's-
going to, I don't think that even makes it to the Supreme Court. It's so
no, that won't.
silly.
That won't. Yeah, no, I don't think that will. But I'm surprised the Supreme Court even heard this case.
The birthright, I am too.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And I don't understand why they waited so long on this decision. I mean, it's basically pretty simple. Every argument that they've tried to make has already been made,
Mhm.
and they've all been addressed. And I said it the other day that the part that scares me about this is not that it's not the case that the Trump administration is bringing, because it's a really crappy case. It's the court. Like, I don't trust the court.
I mean, the way
And-
they were talking, if it's any kind of a signal, it just seemed like and to me, this is what makes it so odd that they even took the case, because the majority of them just thought this was stupid. The way they were, at least the way they were asking questions.
Right.
You know how they say they seem skeptical, and they
Right.
really did.
Yeah, and we'll get word, before somebody asked if the decision is in June. Yeah, we get it in June.
Yeah, but we might get this
typically-
one sooner.
Yeah, typically we'll hear some leaks about the Supreme Court is leaning against it, and they're usually pretty accurate.
Or-
The part
Or
that
if we're lucky, we'll get the whole opinion, like with Roe v. Wade, right?
right, yeah, if we're
Somebody
lucky.
somebody just send it to the New York Times.
Right. The thing that bothers me about this case is, if the court decides that they want to rule in Trump's favor, I'm stateless tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean for somebody like
Well,
me?
man, look, the way
it's
they're
crazy. It's crazy.
This is one thing about these guys. Whatever you're hearing from them it's just the tip of the iceberg. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Right. So this to me feels like, okay, they're talking about undocumented immigrants now, but if they get that, then it'll be, well, what about these naturalized people? Then it'll be, what about folks like you, maybe that weren't born here, or I don't even know what your situation is, but I'm just saying, then at what point does it get to me? You know,
Right. Because that
at
was
some point it's a domino, right?
right. That was the original basis for the case, was to grant Black people citizenship because they were born here.
Well, some of the case law is that they're using in this case literally is like pre-Civil War shit.
Right. Right.
It's something, man.
Yeah, it's these constitutional originalists or whatever. They don't understand why we're not originalists anymore, because things evolve. You know what I mean? It's just
I mean, let's face it, they would like it if it was only, white landowning men. they would not have a problem with that.
Yeah. This is true.
Well, Arturo, it's that time again, man.
Yeah, it sure is.
Boy, we buzzed right through this hour, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. It was good talk though, man.
Yeah. It's I mean, unfortunately, we got a lot of material.
Yeah.
A lot of material. I'm going to throw this chart up. We're not going to spend any time on it, but yesterday there was, I'm going to use this for something I'm working on, but for the first time since the Great Depression, more people left the United States than came to the United States. So a lot of, we have been having the we better get our passports together, and, depending on the midterms, we might have to take the old plant bus and go down to, somewhere in Florida, Baja or somewhere. And, but we're not the only ones. Look at that. Look at this, man, that chart. This last inflection over to the right, man, that is like, I think it equated to something like 150,000 people said, you know what, America, love you, but see you, wouldn't want to be you.
I mean, those kind of numbers with, more people leaving than coming just screams economic contraction to me.
Dude, that you take that, you take the tomorrow at 9:30, I'm going to be all over this. We'll get unemployment numbers or jobs numbers tomorrow. Last month, we had a negative number. I think it was down 30, 60. It was bad. So this, they've been saying, oh, that was an anomaly. Well, we'll see. And of course, none of that is going to reflect, this price shock that we've gotten. And so we'll be on the lookout for that. And, folks, we, as always, we will be looking out for you, and we'll let you know what we come up with. But, man, we might have to start doing this show on Friday. So when we finish up, I'm done for the weekend. We may have to move this. No, but the only problem is at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I'm probably already, on my way. I'm on my second or third beer,
Yeah. Well, for me, this time around, this is Friday because I have my grandkids coming, 4-day weekend,
Okay.
Easter,
it's Easter weekend. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
They don't have school.
And so tomorrow, actually, this is kind of a weird thing for the numbers to be coming out because tomorrow's Good Friday.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's, the stock market, everything's closed. So essentially this is like a Friday as far as the financial markets go. That doesn't mean the price of oil can't keep going up, but
right.
Anyway, so folks, we've come to the end of another episode of a show with no name. I am Marlon Weems, publisher of The Journeyman.
I'm Arturo Dominguez, publisher of Decolonized Journalism.
And I guess we will see you folks on the other side. We appreciate you. And as always, if you can support us by subscribing or becoming paid subscribers, or, I've got I think I've got like a buy me a coffee thing and a link in my profile. So I like coffee. So if somebody wants to buy me a cup of coffee, hey, I will appreciate it, because I do burn the midnight oil, and coffee comes in handy sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
day sale.
Go ahead, man.
I'm running a tax day sale, so
Okay.
$35 a year forever.
Hey, that's not a bad deal.
No,
And,
that's a good deal. Yeah.
If you look across the bottom of the screen, there's, all our stuff. So anyway, we enjoy doing this. I mean, I was about to say I would do this for free, but then I realized I am doing this for free. So yeah, I mean, we really like what we do, and obviously
it's fun.
we're committed to it. So anyway, next
guys.
next week, 6
Next
o'clock,
week.
same time, same station. We'll see you then.
Bye, y'all.